Alright, welcome everybody. We are looking at the B-Wing, and we're going to take a look at its base stats against other ships and get it tuned out and show you the best, what I think to be the best for taking that for a spin. Alright, so if we look at a stock U-Wing as a comparison, we can look at the A-Wing as well. But when we look at the B-Wing, it's got 1,600 holes, so it's got a lot of hull, about the same as a U-Wing, triple an A-Wing, double an Xwing, and just a bit more than a Y-Wing. But the thing to see here is the shields are only 400. In comparison, the shields on an A-Wing are greater than the B-Wings, so you're not going to get a whole lot out of your shields at all. Just kind of a heads up there. And max acceleration is also awful at 50 and maneuverability at 51. So to compare the U-Wing to that, max acceleration is 144 and U-Wings is maneuverability is 70. So you're failing on both fronts with that ship. In comparison to a stock A-Wing, which is the most maneuverable at 80, you're roughly half of the maneuverability of a stock A-Wing, and the acceleration is 196 versus 50. So you're really looking at 4 times less maneuverable. Max speed is 100, A-Wing would be 160. I mean, this is the slowest ship out there, the B-Wing. Now, why would we take the B-Wing? We take the B-Wing probably because of the gyro aux module. So if you look at the lasers, that's another nice thing about it. These fire both laser and ion at the same time. You can see there's 2 different DPSs, max DPS and max ion DPS, so it's going to fire both when you pull the trigger. The highest DPS is going to be on the rotary cannon, but it's got a 1.7 second loadout. If we look at the max DPS on the standard, 533 and 400 versus 766 and 283. My guess is that you'd probably want to be able to fire on demand. It does have a maneuverability penalty here of 45%, and this one here is minus 60%. Alright, so we'll go ahead and give the heavy rotary a try just to see how we're doing with that. But I think you can probably either go standard or primary rotary. I would not go with the guided. Gyro. The importance of this is huge. Alright, so you're going to hold the gyro button for the cockpit to roll, so you can move around and roll that way. So you're holding that down like you would be firing your aux. But the main thing is going to be about dropping your other auxiliary. So you're going to have max ammo increased by double, and you're also going to have the cooldown reduced by half. So you'll have the same you have the same item, like if you got a proton missile, you might have 5 that you're carrying. Let's see, if we look at the proton bombs, you get 5 as your ammo capacity, and the proton torpedoes is it's 5 as well. So you could end up getting 10, and rather than on a 10-second cooldown, it would be on a 5-second cooldown. So you can see how that's pretty potent. You could be tearing away things pretty quickly that way. And if you happen to like the barrage rockets, now instead of firing 1 shot a second, you'd be shooting 1 per half second. I actually feel like the barrage rockets, when I look at the B-Wing, are a bit slower than what I've seen in other ships. And just to kind of compare that, if we were to look at rockets here, rate of fire is 1 per second. I wonder if they nerfed the barrage rockets, because they used to be, I think, like I thought it was like 1/4 of a second, so that might be a little sneaky nerf there. Okay, so going back to these, I would definitely not use anything other than the bombs, the torpedoes. You're not going to benefit from the mines. You might be able to drop them 4.5 seconds, but I don't think you can have more than 1 mine at a time. Maybe you can, but you're going to be moving so slow. Dropping mines is probably not what you're looking to do as a B-Wing. Probably more focused on getting your torps out. So either you take an ion torpedo build where you're firing these, and this is on a 12-second cooldown, or a proton torpedo. You can't carry both and benefit from the other component though, because it takes up a slot. So let's go with the proton torpedoes as being probably the prime pick. If you end up not going the aux, then I would recommend picking up a composite beam and an ion beam. This will allow you to do both beams at once, tearing away as shields, and also have damage happening against the hull with 1,000 here. So you might fire 1, then fire 2, right? Might be an option for you. Stick with particle burst. Standard hull. You don't want to mess with the others except for maybe reflect rather. That's actually probably, I'm going to say go with this one. Even though it reduces our health by 30%, it'll allow you to kind of take wide arcs out and get around the capital ships so that you're not taking concentrated fire from the enemy, because they know how squishy a B-wing and how slow and non-maneuverable they're going to be sitting ducks. Do not go with the deflector hull. You don't care about increasing your measly shields by 30%. Do not go with the hostile lock time, max health -10. You're not getting out of the way of any missiles here, and nothing's slowing down all the damage that's coming your way. So best thing is not to be seen. Go with the deflector hull, or the reflect hull rather. Again, shields, don't want to mess with them. Probably go with standard. You don't care about reducing your shields even further to get conditional laser. Well, you know, I take that back. You might not care about your shields at all, and so conditional laser charge matters, but this only benefits you when you have full shields, when they're fully overcharged. So if you are getting hit, you're not going to get any benefit from this thing, and you're reducing the shields even further. So instead of 400, you're looking at 300. And then the conversion shield is just going to suck away all your energy from your lasers for an emergency shield, and that's going to be no fun for you. The nimble deflector increases your regen, but reduces your max shields. It's like, why? Why would you? I mean, you get your shields back quick, but they're gone. They're gone again in moments. And then the engine, you can have the unstable, which causes an explosion, but your max speed and acceleration, you're not really gaining much there, and you're losing a ton when it comes to health. And then your measly shields take another hit of 20%. The thrust engine, 30% faster of 100 is 130. Does it really mean, you know, is it really worth going to get that huge drop in your already crappy acceleration and maneuverability? Maybe, maybe not. My thought is not. I don't care about going 130. What I think I'm going to want to do is go with the slam engine. This way you can constantly have boost coming in just by having a little power to your engines, and since you don't care about your shields in the B-wing, probably throwing all your power to lasers or engines anyway. And you could always go with the standard, but I think we'll go with slam. So having that selected, let's go ahead and select for launch and give it a go. Alright, so we are loading up a practice arena where we can drop in raiders and see how the ship kind of fares against different things. Alright, so right now I'm moving around, trying to get an idea for the feel of what it looks like. Alright, so we have full speed right now, is at 79 with our current setup. And the thrusters were up to 200. That little spire eyeglass thing is over visible on the enemies right now. So you can see, it'll be interesting to see the configuration of how our ship is laid out. I think that might be if I use the right. Oh, there it is. You see how it flashed for a moment? And I'm rotating around B-wing. It's kind of hard to see, but it's the only thing really moving on the screen right now for you. So right now I know that my ship, I'm in the middle of that dot, that little T circle to the right of my shields, and it shows me that my, I want to say the bottom of the ship is out to the right. So if I engage my, you kind of hear that noise, flashes. Look at where that's flashing, you can see the ship rotating. Okay, and so this is happening with your roll. So when you normally roll, that's part of that. And you can still do your rolls. It's just changing the orientation. So if you want it to the left, just know that when you fly by something, it's probably going to clip me. Yeah, so I took a little bit of a hit as I came around that. So if I'm flying and I think I'm just going to miss these barriers, well, that won't work. Maybe it was a side. Coming around this, expect to get a little ding as I'm going around here, even though it looks like I got the space. Doesn't seem to have harmed the hull at all. So if I'm coming by these, again, you're going to get caught on that. So be mindful, trying to figure out the configuration that you should like the most. You know, freak people out, you might be like coming at them like this. Alright, let's see if we can fit through the hole. Okay, so the ship is still able to navigate some of the normal holes. Alright, the ship wasn't too big on that one. I just kind of clipped it up. Alright, so one thing to note with the coming back is that it defaults you into the upright position. So if you have a preferred orientation, and it can be anything you want, it looks like, your gyroscope is there. Okay, so let's take a look at the torpedoes. We're going to have a target in order for that, so let's bring in the baddie. Alright, we're going to bring in a raider. Alright, so we got the raider, it starts 2K out. When we get to about 1.5, see where we then back into the... So we're getting a lock. So we're going to fire a torpedo, and it should be going to fire something through there.
Come on!
Alright, so we should be able to fire every 5 seconds, and you can see that we've got 8 remaining. We fired 2 of them. So we are getting the double that we were told we were going to get. So you can see the shields really don't want to turn at all. Not really able to charge those shields up. Since those torpedoes are going to lock on at about 0.5, so we've got full shield. Notice that we are within 1500, but we still have that no one can see us eye. Cap ships might see us, but fighter pilots out here will not. So you'll be able to keep taking torpedo shots against this target, letting them load up. So just as one's about to hit, we've got another one on the way. So I'm just keeping everything in shields right now. Launching these on it. Now I'm using the very regular proton corpse. So let's take a go at firing on this bad boy. You can see pumped in the laser pretty stuff. We're going to open up. Pop here. Let's see how fast we can get back to resupply. I guess that's the fastest way to get there. Again, be mindful of your orientation. It's going to be a little tricky to remember when these things facing. Okay, so we are now upside down with our raider targets out there. We're going to engage our lasers on it this time. You can see that the shields took a few proton hits and it didn't really drop it much at all. It's about 4,000 damage, but mostly intended for hull instead of shields. So we are going to get out. So I'm going to fire. Now we're within laser range. We're going to cue that up. You can see it's circling up. Giving the shield a chance to recharge here. Alright, looking at it, all the shields are gone on the raider now. So it's pretty fast on that. Put back into the lasers. So we're still doing ion damage, but it's just not feeling as strong with the ions as normally. Or your ions is great, but once the shields are down, it's probably all that you want to do with it. Let's go back to go ahead and deploy, but then we can switch out the ships. So, well, I think we want to go back to the hangar to look at the Return of the New Republic hangar. And we want to see what other options are there for lasers, because these are great for taking down the shields, but then after that's taken care of.
What you looking for?
I didn't really feel the output, and it doesn't seem to be saving any of the configurations, because we had the rotary, which was mostly, this is max DPS 766, so I was imagine that's going to be more laser damage than anything else, but it did not feel that way. I want to see how this standard laser goes. Good, let's stick with that. It again didn't keep any of the configurations, so this is going to be a nightmare for people. Let's go ahead and get rid of the new gyro option. See how that plays for us, and we will go with these barrage rockets and the beam. I kind of want to change the location of that, so we'll go with the beam and the barrage rockets. So this beam, there's nothing new here. This is just the standard one you pick up on a Y-wing or a TIE bomber. It does 1,000 for 3 seconds, 1,000 per second, and it's a 1.5 cube up. Keeping everything else the same. Let's try the emergency shields, because I think that this is just going to suck, but I just want to kind of confirm that expectation. So we're going to see how these lasers work out. So my thought would be you're going to be using the B-Wing to take down shields and rapid fire torpedoes. That's pretty much the niche that I see there. Alright, so we're going to drop out a Raider.
What you looking for? That'll be fun.
Okay, so I think that this is going to be the one we want to go to for like dogfighting. We got a B-Wing set up with the standard laser single fire on demand. We've got barrage rockets where there's 80 of them. Hopefully they fire faster now. And they don't really feel like they are. Okay, so we got 50 remaining, so if we counted like, you know, Team Mississippi, right? Let's So I count roughly 7 or 8, so let's just call that 8. So it looks like they kept the 0.25 second fire rate. The tooltip says 1 second, so they are actually firing 4 times as fast as the tooltip, but they've always kind of been around that 0.2, 0.25 barrage rocket fire rate. But this way we can take in to account a, see, add in an enemy squadron here. So you notice the slamming kept the